Alright, and welcome back. I do apologise again just for the stopping and starting of the stream, just trying to sort out obviously just some settings just to get it running as smooth as possible, and haven't had too much time lately just to sort that out. But anyway, we're about 30 seconds away from the session starting. And once again, Captain Barracuda topping the timesheets, although Andrew O'Hara a bit closer this time, as was Terry Rayton. But still looked comfortably, half a second, 6/10 faster than we see Andrew O'Hara, who is quite handy, as we've seen in pretty much, every other AK racing series to date. So Barracuda very, very quick. And here we are, race about to begin. Just a reminder, it is a 1 hour race. The race beginning, we'll start at 10 o'clock probably in game, but it is a 24-hour time cycle within that 1 hour, so 24 time scale. Barracuda gets us underway, and he'll have a clear lead, followed by Andrew O'Hara. And then Terry Rayton in third place. Looks like there's a 4-car pack in the middle there. Try and have a look. Unfortunately, the camera's messing up a little bit there. Anyway, Mironenko has dropped behind the Mercedes there of Josh Lynn. So Josh Lynn up a place, and down a place Sergei Mironenko. And Josh Lynn at the moment got a little bit of a pack behind him, and it looks like we've got Simon Phillips up a couple places. So he did start 11th, and now he's all over the back of the Emil Fry Jaguar of Tim Craggle. And we'll stick with this for now, but at the moment he's actually made a slight mistake, and he's got Jason Madden right behind him. And it looked like, I think that was Gomez and Vesper coming in a little battle behind as well. Oh, we've got to slow down. So something has happened here. We'll try and find a replay. Let's just go back. No, can't find anything. Alright, so back live now. Safety car, or full course yellow conditions, I should say. Obviously there is no safety car in Assetto Corsa Competizione, at least not yet. Although I don't think there is plans to add them, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, under full course caution after some error down the field that we've missed, unfortunately. But I'm sure we'll find out post-race. But anyway, as you can see, a number of the drivers weaving to try and keep some kind of tyre pressure in the tyres. Temperature doesn't matter quite as much as the pressures in both Assetto Corsa and Assetto Corsa Competizione, and in particular in ACC, if you don't have enough temperature in them and you do use the curves quite a bit, it can give you a puncture. So it might be an idea for a number of the drivers just to warm their tyres, but should go green hopefully shortly. But currently Barracuda holding his lead from the start. And away we go green, and he's got a nice jump over Andrew O'Hara. And O'Hara leaves a little bit of a pack with Rayton, Josh Lynn, Sergei Mironenko. And also got Courtier there in the GTR, followed by James Delaney. And then Tim Craggill as well. Looks like Barracuda and Ant and O'Hara just edging away from Terry Rayton as the lap has progressed. And Rayton just a little bit ahead now of Josh Lynn, but Lynn, he's got Mironenko for company. Mironenko not too far away. Again, they've built a little bit of a gap at the end of that lap over Courtier behind. In fact, looks like Lynn's had a very handy first sector because he is now right behind Terry Rayton. So see Courtier wide there on the exit of Graham Hill. And again, Lynn a little bit wide on the exit of Surtees, and that's going to give Mironenko a decent run into Hawthorn. I don't think he's going to be close enough, I should say, to make a move. Going to have to be side by side to make a move stick into Hawthorn, because there really is no braking to speak of. And if you get it wrong, there's two cars that are going to have a monumental accident on the exit of that, because the barriers aren't too far away on either side. So it looks like Lynn has stabilised that gap just a little bit. And he's able to hold off Mironenko for now. It does look like though behind that Courtier's starting to, well, he was starting to hold up Delaney, but Delaney's ran wide on the exit of the final corner, and that allows the Emil Fry Lexus in front of him. So Tim Craggill says, thank you very much, I'll take that one. And then we've got Courtier wide in the exit, very, very wide. So that's going to drop him a number of spots. And it looks like Craggill and Delaney side by side into Druids. Side by side on the exit. Craggill will have the inside for Graham Hill, and he should hold on into Sterling afterwards. That said though, Delaney all the circuit and more to try and get a decent run into Surtees. Not quite close enough. And looks like Craggill now just starting to edge away. Simon Phelps not too far away. He didn't have a great restart, I don't think. But he is now up into 8th. He did start 11th. And again, he made his way forward in the race after some issues at Monza. And once again, some smart driving. No mistakes so far. And he's up from 11th place where he started. And only a second off Delaney in front of him. And after that mistake, Courtier is now down in 9th place, about a second off Phillips. And Greg Brock, who has switched from the GTR to the Audi, now driving the number 26 Santa Lock Racing Audi R8, sitting in 10th place. He's got Jason Madden behind him. Madden was a little bit higher. He was battling with Phillips at the start of the race, but hasn't had a great restart, and he's now down in 11th place. And these guys have a little bit of a gap over Michael Sarlo in the number 1 Audi, but he's run wide and he's lost the rear end, the exit of turn 1, and he is in the fence. Yellow flag is out. A single car incident, so I don't think it won't be a full course caution. Riding on board. He's trying to get it going again. So he's going to try and stick it out, but he'll be kicking himself for that mistake so early on in the race. Looks like he's going to get it going. But that has dropped him all the way down to now last place in the field. Looks like both the Belgian Audi Club Team WRT Audis are now last of the runners. With Pope and Sarlo now at the back of the field. So cut back to the Greg Brock, Jason Madden battle. Looks like they're edging a little bit closer to Craigle and Courtier in front of them. As you can see in the top left-hand corner of your screen, a lot of 26s in that. In that little midfield. At the front though, fastest lap of the race at 24.0 for Captain Barracuda. That would have put him third on the grid. And Andrew O'Hara at 24.7. Terry Rayton 25.6. And then we have Josh Lynn at 25.6. Mironenko at 25.6 as well. In fact, it looks like Mironenko and Lynn very close together on the circuit. So they're continuing their battle. Rayton just edging away a little bit. But they're not letting him really get away. And we've actually had Simon Phillips. He's jumped up in front of the GT. Oh, he's jumped in front. It looks like Craigle's made a mistake somewhere, because I do believe Craigle was in front of both Phillips and Courtier. I really need to learn how to pronounce his name, and it's getting on my nerves. But anyway, yeah. So that's now Phillips, another spot, but he is being hounded by the GTR Courtier. Phillips has been unflappable so far. Probably doesn't have the pace that he would like, but I think his consistency, if he doesn't make any mistakes, will keep him in this little battle for a top 5 position. And doing just enough on the exit of Paddock Hill to keep Courtier at bay. A little bit wide though at Druids, but in fact looks like he's taken a double apex and it's given him a nice exit. So it's built up a little bit of a gap, and he'll hold on for P7 for now. With this battle going on though, it's allowed Craigle just to edge up once again to this little pack. Phillips 1.3 behind Delaney in front. These guys are 7 seconds behind Lynn and Mironenko, and it looks like there's actually a change of position between the two. They're side by side at the top of the hill. Mironenko around the outside at Westfield Bend, but he's gone around, and he's in the fence. Hopefully he's not on the racing line. He's going to have to wait for a number of cars to get out of the way. That was a little flick turn. And thankfully, he's ended up back where he started after doing a nice little flick turn and have everyone avoid him. He has to now cross onto the racing line. Thankfully, no one hit him. In the sim racing world, I'm pretty sure everybody's been involved in an incident where someone's had a spin somewhere and then just drove straight back onto the racing line in front of half the field. So Sergey did all the hard work getting that pass done, and he's undone it straight away with a spin, and all the way down now in 14th place. So he's got a bit of work to do to obviously get back into the top 5. At the front though, 24.5 for Barracuda, 24.6 for this man on screen, Andrew O'Hara. So these two in a class of their own, but O'Hara just quite doesn't have that pace that Barracuda does, and Barracuda just edging away at the moment. O'Hara though, not being bothered by Terry Rayton like he was at Monza though. Nice little gap, 6.8 seconds. Well, around about that mark anyway. 7.5 now over Terry Rayton, who is being hassled by Josh Lynn. So Lynn, after the couple cars around him falling off the road, has allowed him to concentrate, and he's just edged closer and onto the back of Terry Rayton, and he's looking to pick up a spot in the top 3. So 26.3, 26.1 for Lynn. These guys 1.5 seconds off the front running pace. 24.6, 24.7 for first and second. So I've got a couple of tiers of drivers with O'Hara and Barracuda sort of at the top, at least in this race anyway, in that number 1 tier. Then we've got these guys in that little second tier. We do have a number of drivers that are similar paced to Lynn and Rayton, but they've made mistakes throughout this one. So these guys, nice little cushion over James Delaney, 6.5 seconds, who's got about 3 seconds over Phillips and Courtier. And it looks like they're quite close together, and they are. And looks like Courtier tried to make a move. Tried to go around the outside, and that's opened the door for Tim Craggle, who says, thank you very much, I'll go up the inside, and I'll take my position back. So Craggle now up into P7, and now it's his chance. So it was his chance. He's ran wide at the top of the hill at Hawthorn, and once again, does the smart thing, gets the position, and then runs wide straight after. And a bit of a slide there as well through Sheens. So you better watch those rear tyres. Won't want to cook them. Especially with a number of the corners where you really do need the rear end to be compliant. But Phillips up into P6 now. And doing a fantastic job of just racing his own race. Even though there's faster cars around him, they've all made mistakes. But he hasn't, so that's why he finds himself in P6. Did start in 11th place. And looks like Craig's made a little bit of a micro mistake somewhere as well. Just off the screen, and he's now being harassed. We've also got Josh Lynn. He's very, very close to Terry Rayton, so we've got a number of battles currently raging. And it looks like Brock and Gomez also duking it out. Gomez got a couple of cars behind him. So Brock and Chazana. And it looks like one of those boards have been absolutely obliterated there. As you can see, littered all over the circuit and grass. And it looks like Chazana trying to make a move on Brock. But Brock holds on for now. That gives Gomez just a little bit of breathing room as these two duke it out. And Brock a little unsettled using that curb at Westfield. And allows Chazana to close in once again. And Brock a little bit wide on the entry to Sheen. And he's ran wide and into the fence. So I did say that corner will claim victims. And there's the number one on our screen right there. So unfortunate for Brock. And that'll be a bit of damage. As you can see, the bonnet on his Audi R8 just lifting just a little bit, and he may drive straight into the pits to fix that. He's cruising just a little bit, and yeah, straight into the pits, unfortunately for the Audi driver. Oh, we've got Phillips around. Phillips is around. I wonder what happened there. So let's just go back and have a look on the replay. So he hasn't had a great run through turn one. Has he outbroke himself? No, he's got a little bit of a serve there from the GTR. Unfortunately, that Lamborghini had nowhere to go. Had to go on the grass and dropped a couple spots because of that. And that'll be mighty frustrating for Phillips, who hadn't made a mistake. Still hasn't made a mistake. But all this hard work undone by a little nudge. Round he went, and now he's down in 12th place. So he's got a bit of work to do to catch up. He's 16 seconds behind Tim Craggle, who he was in front of. So that's a bucket load of time. So Phillips will be a bit dirty with that one. So just trying to find a nice little juicy battle. And Rayton continues to be followed by Josh Lynn. The battle for third place. These guys 7.5 seconds in front of James Delaney. On that last lap, too, Rayton a 27.8 and a 27.9 for Lynn. So these guys have, well, everybody sort of dropped about a second than what they were setting about a lap ago. Well, not a lap ago, about 10 minutes ago. So the tyres being worn just a little bit, perhaps a little bit of traffic as well, and even maybe a little bit of fatigue for the drivers. So you see someone running wide on the exit of Sheens, kick up a bit of grass. Didn't see a car though, so hopefully no one in the barrier there. And O'Hara actually on that, well, both the front runners on that last lap, 24.8s. So perhaps just a bit of traffic for a number of guys on the previous lap. And these guys back into the 26s, so I think that's what it was, bit of traffic. That's I think Rayton and Lynn, I think they're on their own at the moment, unless we see Delaney and Courtier step up and find a bit of time, because they're all running around about the same time. So it's that Rayton and Lynn, neither of them have run off the road, unlike Courtier, Craggle and Co. In fact, Craggle's actually dropped a couple of spots. He's down in 9th. So I think he's had a spin somewhere, because he was battling, or he was around about where Courtier was. So he's dropped it off the road, I believe, somewhere. Speaking of Courtier, there he is. He's got Madden not too far behind him as well. Courtier, he's got his lights on. Wants to tell any lap traffic that comes his way to get the hell out of the way, and people that he's racing to just distract them a little bit in their mirrors, to give him just that little extra percentage of a chance to get by. But pace-wise, I think he's just a little bit fractionally faster than Madden. So he fastest lap 25.8. In fact, he'd set a personal best on that one. 25.7 for Courtier, and a personal best as well for Madden. 25.7 for Courtier, 25.9 for Madden. And they were 6/10, well, Courtier anyway, 6/10 faster than Delaney in front. And about 1.1 seconds as well faster than Josh Lynn. So not too bad. If they can keep those times up, that might bring them back into play, because there still is obviously just under 40 minutes remaining. But they're going to need to remain consistent, and as we've seen from a couple of these guys already, is that they haven't been too consistent. Slight little mistakes here and there, but they are in clear air at the moment, so they've got every opportunity to close those gaps down. So this battle at the moment is, I believe, the closest battle on the circuit. At about a second. See what the lap times are when they cross the start finish line. There's Lynn back into the 25s. In fact, Salo behind him, who is lapped also in the 25s. So Salo travelling nicely as well. Courtier, 25.7 and a 25.4 for Madden. So it looks like the track is starting to rubber up. The fuel's starting to obviously dissipate and be used in those engines, making the cars a bit lighter. And we're starting to see lap times drop again after they did sort of fall away a couple laps ago. But just to run through the order for everybody playing at home, Captain Barracuda once again continues to lead both the championship and this race, and he's got about 7 seconds over Andrew O'Hara in second, Terry Rayton in third. He's got about a second and a half over Josh Lynn in fourth, followed by James Delaney, and then Justin Courtier on your screen. Jason Madden 7th, Anthony Chisana, who started well down the field but has been pretty handy in the race so far, finds himself in 8th place, so he's going along quite nicely. Tim Craigill, who's been up and down, is in 9th. Reece Holter's 10th, he started down the field as well, but nice and consistent for him, no mistakes, and he finds himself in the 10, right at the edge of it. And then we have Simon Phillips, who was up as high as 6th position, but a little nudge from the man on your screen sent him around at Druids and down into what was 12th, and he's worked his way in front of Sebastian Murray Vesberg for 12th place. We've got Shane Poole in 13th, followed by Manassas Gomez, Greg Brock, who had an off at Sheen's and had to pit, and we had Michael Sarlo, who had an off on the exit of turn 1 at Paddock Hill and ended up in the fence on the right hand side. I'm not sure if he's pitted or not, but that's why he's down in 16th, despite his last lap being a 25, or his setting a personal best 2 laps ago with a 25.8, which is quite handy. And then we have Sean Thompson 17th, and SASR 71 Inorsa in 18th place, followed by Sergei Mironenko, who last lap at 2 minute 35.7. So I wonder if he has pitted. He was obviously starting in the top 5, started 4th, I believe, but had a little off right where Justin Courtier was, and had to wait for the field to go by, and that dropped him well down the field, as you can see, down in 18th and last of the runners. As I was going through the field there, Courtier looks like he's put a bit of time on Madden. See, I was concentrating on the gaps between the drivers and not what was going on the screen, and he's 25.9 again, so he's quite consistent. 1.2 seconds faster than Delaney and 2 seconds faster than Madden behind. So he's got his eyes forward, and he's looking to break his way into the top 5. Is just dropping time to Rayton and Lynn, separated by a second, but he's closing in on Delaney. In fact, we'll jump over to the Lynn-Rayton battle. So you see Rayton come across Shane Poole. Unfortunately for Lynn, he's caught him at the wrong spot, because it's difficult for a lap car to let the faster cars go through, because there really is one line through this tight and fast section. He's got through it, hasn't dropped too much time. In fact, I think Rayton may have made a slight mistake somewhere, because that gap was a little bit more than that. And now Lynn is right there. He's not too far away. Half a second. 26.6 for Rayton, 26.1 for Lynn. Sun starting to go down, or not starting to go down, it is almost down, so some of the drivers we'll see turn their headlights on in the next lap or two. Looks like Rayton, so the solid middle sectors put a couple of tenths on Lynn. Perhaps Rayton was just a little bit, not so much blocked by Poole, but perhaps getting past the Audi just unsettled his rhythm that he had going, and that allowed Lynn to close in. Yeah, because on this lap, Rayton went along quite nicely. We've got Phillips now, as you can see in the top left hand corner of the screen, and in 15th. And I'm wondering if he has pitted, although I think he's made a mistake. 35.5 is an indication that he's had an off somewhere and not an outlap. But we are approaching half distance. 25.5 for Rayton, so good lap from him. Lynn at 26.0, and Salo behind them, who's a lap down at 25.9, so he'll be kicking himself that he had that spin on the exit of turn 1, because he had some solid pace. He had pace for, to battle for the top 5, but yeah, that incident he had costing him dearly. But if he keeps pushing on, he still might pick up a solid result, as you never know what might happen. It's starting to get quite dark now. Lights are ablaze. And Lynn continues to try and put some pressure on Terry Rayton in front of him. And it looks like we've got Pope in the pits. Yeah, so Norsa in the pit lane. We've also got Terry Rayton has entered the pits. So we'll see how he goes, and we'll see if Josh Lynn can get a bit of an overcut on him. Also got James Delaney entering the pit lane as well. Jason Madden continuing on. He's dropped his pace the last few laps, and Courtier has just streaked away. He's now 7 seconds ahead of him after being about a second away for a number of laps there. But Courtier has remained in the high 25s and 26s, while Madden's been a bit up and down in that last lap at 28.4. Perhaps some traffic, or perhaps a mistake, but either way, it cost him quite a bit of time, almost 2 seconds on that last one. The leaders for reference on that last lap, 25.3 for Barracuda, 25.2 for O'Hara, and then the next fastest lap the last time around was a 26.1 from third place Josh Lynn. Also got Reese Halters in the pit lane as well. And Courtier goes around again. Not a bad lap time as well. Although O'Hara on that last lap, 24.8, comfortably quickest man on the circuit. 1.4 seconds faster than Barracuda, who set a 26.2. So perhaps Barracuda had a little bit of lap traffic. But O'Hara, though, very, very quick. 24.8. That's only 2/10 off his personal best of the race so far. So perhaps the car in these obviously nighttime conditions without the sun, putting added temperature. Oh, and he's ran wide there. He's ran wide at Sheen. And he doesn't do what Greg Brock does and gas it up while on the grass and stick it in the fence on the right-hand side. But that will cost him a bit of time there. Looks like Barracuda continuing on, as is O'Hara. So what will this time be? 28.0. So all that time he gained on that previous lap, he lost. And then some as well. It was another 26 for Barracuda as well, so if it had been a 25 or another 24, he would have gained as well. So we will see on this lap how O'Hara progresses. And he might have the car which is ideally suited to the night, and perhaps Barracuda can't quite get or keep the tyre temperature, or keep the tyres in the right temperature range, while O'Hara can. So, just having a look around for some nice battles on the circuit. Doesn't look like there's too many going on at the moment. So we are in the pit stop phase. Closest one on track is between Murray Vesberg and Terry Rayton. Rayton, who has pitted. And there's also Phillips trying to unlap himself from him as well. But this man continues to lead 26.0, so low 26s continually for Barracuda. And we've got O'Hara in the pits. O'Hara in the pit lane. So trying to get a little bit of an undercut, and perhaps hope for maybe a full course yellow to come out while he's in the pit lane to bring him back into the game, because that gap was around 10 seconds. And with it will be about 26.5 minutes remaining. That's going to be difficult to reel in with the pace that Barracuda has demonstrated in the first two rounds and as well this evening. Jason Madden in the pits. James Delaney has just left the pits, has he? No, looks like he's out. Is he? No, it looks like he's left the pit lane, so he's on an out lap. Is Delaney, my mistake. And we've got O'Hara now leaving the pits. And he's going to come out right behind Sean Thompson. He'll be hoping to get immediately past him. As you can see, the blue flag being waved there. And the S&P Ferrari does indeed get out of the way. So O'Hara now has to press on. Barracuda's gone around for another lap. And O'Hara's going to need a magical 2 laps here just to bring that gap, I reckon, down to... If he brings it down to 7 seconds, he'll give himself a chance. As you see, the S&P Ferrari, Thompson wide off the road at Surtees. And yeah, O'Hara needs 2 good laps here just to bring it down to about 7.5 seconds, and that will give him some kind of a chance with about 25 minutes remaining, or 24 minutes remaining once Barracuda pits, if he pits on this lap. Looks like we've got Greg Brock in the pits as well as Shane Poole. Right on board this lap in the night of Andrew O'Hara's Bentley Continental, obviously the previous gen. Round about the bridge paddock for Druids, I should say. Now down to Graham Hill, coming up to some lap traffic of Chisana and Madden, who are battling on the circuit, so it might make things a bit awkward. They are side by side in front of him. O'Hara is continuing to close, and we do have Barracuda in the pit lane. His last lap was a 25.2, so he put the hammer down on that last one. His best lap for quite a while. As O'Hara comes up to Chisana, and one of those cars has gone missing. I was looking at the live timing, but something must have happened there. I apologise. We've also got Courtier in the pits, and O'Hara being balked a bit there from the car in front, and he's giving him a flash. He's not happy with the car in front, because the car in front is not really getting out of his way, not making it easy. Finally brakes early and gets out of the way, but O'Hara not going to be too pleased with that. That's going to cost him time. Jocelyn leads, and where is... Yeah, a 26.2, so he really needed to be in a 25 or 24 range. And Barracuda would have lost time. And no, that is not O'Hara right in front of him. That is Gomez. Sister team Parker Racing, Bentley Continental. So the gap's actually ballooned out to about 14 seconds. So Barracuda, nice solid couple laps, and then solid pit stop. Bit of traffic for O'Hara, and an extended lead now, 14.5 seconds. Question remains, where will, or was Jocelyn wide there onto the grass? 25.6 for him on that last lap. He's battling with Terry Rayton. It was a 25.9 on that last lap for Rayton. So Glenn can continue that pace. He'll give himself a chance to leapfrog Rayton in the pit stops, but that little mistake at turn 1 where he just clipped the gravel, which the gravel in ACC and AC is, well, it's like glue. It slows you down, in my opinion, unrealistically. But it's certainly not something you want to be touching in this game, that's for sure. As it will slow you down considerably, as we saw. Our current leader, and he's realistically battling for 3rd place in this race, barring some kind of major error or car failure, or possibly computer failure. Hopefully not for one of the front 2 runners. .21 minutes remaining. Will Lynn pit this lap? No, he's going around once again. Interesting to see what his lap time will be with that slight mistake. 25.9 with that mistake, so he'll be kicking himself a little bit because that would have been quite a nice lap time. Probably would have been a couple of tenths faster. I'd say it would have been a mid-25 at worst. Would have been very close to his personal best. He's coming up to some lap traffic though. Sean Thompson, 3 seconds up the road, and then he's got Murray Vesberg 8 seconds up the road. So we might see him duck into the pit at the exit at the end of this lap, I should say. Let me see, 25.4 for Barracuda. O'Hara 26.6 on his previous lap, but he's across the start-finish line for the previous lap. And he's at a 23.8, so fastest lap of the race. O'Hara in a bit of clear air. He'll be kicking himself about those. Oh, as we see Lynn wide there, but O'Hara, fastest lap of the race into the 23s. That is mighty close to his qualifying time. Unfortunately, the pit stop phase didn't work for him. With the traffic, maybe a couple little minor errors, or perhaps adding too much fuel or something. And either way, he's dropped a bit of time in the pit stop sequence, about 5 seconds or so. If he hadn't been setting those times, if he had been in a bit of clear air, would certainly make a race of it. But unfortunately, it's going to be too much for him, because he's going to need almost a second a minute, a second per lap per minute. And we've got Lynn in the pits. We'll have a look at Rayton. Where is Terry Rayton? He's at the top of the hill coming towards Westfield. But he is in a little bit of traffic at the moment. We've got Tim Craggle in 9th place in front of him. He's not the slowest. He has made a slight mistake, so that might hold up Terry Rayton just a little bit. No, doesn't look like it will. And he is getting out of the way, so he won't hold up Terry Rayton. Lynn, though, still stationary in the pits. He's going to need to get moving if he wants to get out in front of Terry Rayton. And in fact, Terry Rayton is actually going to have quite a handy little gap over him on that last lap. 25.6 for Terry Rayton. And that enables him to keep a hold of P3. And Josh Lynn is still in the pit, so perhaps he had some damage, or he's had to actually add fuel in the pit stops. And that's cost him a bit of time. In fact, he's reset in the pit box there. Away he goes. And he's now well behind Terry Rayton. So perhaps there's a mistake there that we've not seen. So that's elevated Justin Courtier up into P4. And he's about, as you can see, 11 seconds behind Terry Rayton behind. So Rayton's going to have a pretty quiet end to this one. Big gap to the cars in front. 16.5 seconds to O'Hara and 11 seconds to Courtier in behind. Still haven't seen Murray Vesberg in the pits. That's why he's in P5. And Josh Lynn has emerged in P6. He's in front of Reece Halters, who's had a good run. He's up in 7th place. Not the quickest, but he's been consistent. And he hasn't made mistakes, which is vital, because we've had guys like James Delaney and Tim Craggill, as well as, or both of those guys, Tim Craggill and Delaney, both pretty quick, as has Jason Madden. He's been pretty quick as well. We've also seen quick times from Michael Salo in the 25s. But compared to Reece's fastest lap of a 26.9, but Reece just hasn't made mistakes. He's kept out of trouble and finds himself in a fairly solid 7th position, as has Manassas Gomez. So that's why both those guys are running in 7th and 8th. So solid job from those two. About 3 seconds separating the two. So Gomez is a chance to make a little bit of a battle for it. A little bit of a battle there. And in fact, half a second faster. Last couple of corners, so Gomez travelling along nicely, and he does have time to sneak another spot higher up into 7th. And it looks like Michael Silo's got himself a stop-go 30-second penalty. Don't know what he's done. Perhaps speed in the pit lane. But, as we see, 23.8 for Barracuda. Still not the fastest lap of the race. O'Hara holds it by 16 hundredths of a second. and Salo now exiting the pits, who's just cleared his penalty. 27.4 for Holters, 28.2 for Gomez. So Gomez just made a couple errors, by the looks of it, on the back end of that lap. He did have the gap down to 2.5 seconds, but now it's out to 3.3 seconds. A little bit of a field spread at the moment. Unfortunately, Josh Lynn dropping all that time in the pit stops because he was really terrorising Terry Rayton for the early part of this race. So that's why he's now down in 6th place. Vesberg continuing on. But the pace Vesberg is going at, I don't know if he knows that there is a compulsory pit stop or if he's just going as long as possible before pitting. But lap time wise, well, I would say that Lynn should be catching him, but a 41 on that last lap. I think he's lost the plot, has Josh Lynn. It's pretty quick and consistent early on, but since the pit stops, it looks like, because he was a 1 minute 30 the lap before, and on this lap a 41.2. So he has lost the plot, and currently out on his own. Should Vesberg pit, he will obviously jump up into P5, but he'll be reminiscing about what could have been. It looked like he's a little bit wide there on the exit of Surtees, but I think that was just the camera angle playing tricks on my eyes. Speaking of the Gomez and Halters battle, gap has come down on that last lap. 27.1 for Gomez, a 27.7 for Halters. And the gap 2.5 seconds now. It looks like Halters having to navigate some traffic. In fact, it looks like Salo perhaps off the road somewhere. Yeah, there he is on the exit. One of the fastest corners on the circuit at Hawthorn. And I don't know if he's going to get going or if he's... no, it looks like he's going to get going, but he's just trying to do it safely. Yeah, there he goes, back onto the circuit. It looks like actually going back to this little battle, that good middle sector and final sector from Halters, gap now out to 3 seconds. So perhaps a little bit of traffic for Halters. In fact, Halters 27.3 is actually quite close to his personal best, actually. 27.7 for Gomez, so he's not too far away from what he's been doing at the moment, well, recently. But he'll need to go a little bit faster, more consistently, if he does want to close that gap down. So 12 minutes remaining. Fair amount of field spread, unfortunately, but that is Brands Hatch. You do see a bit of field spread here. It goes both ways. You see, obviously the better drivers do separate themselves around here. You've got to be very, very committed. You've got to trust your car and your instincts. So we see Gomez a little bit wide there, pushing a little bit too hard, carrying too much speed on the exit, and that's going to drop him a good second, I'd say, there, when it's all said and done. And you do need to be committed, and you do need to have a lot of trust in your car over curbs and bumps. But you don't want to overcommit because those barriers are very, very close. See, there's a number of former F1 drivers that have had some quite horrific injuries. Johnny Herbert, obviously, his career never being the same after having a massive accident in, I think it was F3 or Formula 3000 at the time, breaking his ankle and foot. Yeah, on that last lap, gap now out to 4.5 seconds between Halters and Gomez. So Halters just needs to keep doing what he's doing. Hasn't put a foot wrong, that's why he's in 7th place. Well, Gomez in these last couple of laps has made a couple little errors which has set him back in his charge towards 7th place. In fact, the gap between O'Hara and Rayton has come down dramatically. 3.7 seconds separating the two. So, fortunately, I haven't been able to... Just trying to have a look and see... it doesn't say anything on my live timing app that indicates what lap that's happened on. It must have been 2 or 3 laps ago. Last lap was a 26.4 for O'Hara, which isn't great for him. While Terry Rayton quite close to his personal best with a 25.1, his personal best being a 24.8. But yeah, that gap was out in the teens, and as you can see on your screen, 2.7 seconds now. And it looks like Rayton just that little bit quicker at the moment. And another 26.5 for O'Hara, 24.9 for Rayton. So O'Hara having some issues here, and the battle which raged all throughout the Monza round looks like it may be set to continue in the final 10 minutes here at Brands Hatch, as O'Hara has dropped a lot of pace, and Rayton, in fact, fastest man on the circuit with a 24.9. And the second fastest man is actually Courtier in 4th place. So those guys travelling nicely. Barracuda continues to lead. He set a 25.3, and then the next closest was Lynn with a 25.5. And then from then on, lap times are a dog's breakfast. I think the next one's a 27. A 26 from Phillips down in 10th. A mid 26. So lap times all over the place. Looks like drivers just getting a little bit fatigued. Obviously, cars probably aren't at their optimum, and obviously they've got the sun now starting to probably play a little bit of havoc with their eyes into certain corners. And the gap on your screen, under 2 seconds. Well, it was under 2 seconds for a split second there. So Rayton is closing in, and he's going to give us something to shout about in the final couple laps from it. In the final couple of laps and minutes. Once again, 26.1 for O'Hara. Once again, Rayton 25.1. Perhaps O'Hara set his car up for the night time because he was quite quick in the dark. But since the sun has come up, his lap times have dropped right off. And Rayton 1.5 seconds behind, and a real shot of sneaking in a second place when just 10 minutes ago you wouldn't have thunk it that he'd be anywhere near the back of the Team Parker Racing Bentley Continental. So down Pilgrim's Drop, then up to Hawthorns Bend. Lap car of Pope in front. Pope backs out of it and doesn't hold Rayton up too much. It will balk him a little bit having to take the more shallower line into the corner, but Pope getting out of the way, not making it too difficult for Rayton. And that O'Hara in front is coming across Gomez, who's actually dropped now 5 seconds behind Walters. So we see O'Hara using all the road and a bit of grass. The exit of Sterling. And again, O'Hara still mid-26. Rayton, we did see, had to deal with Pope in an awkward area, and it looks like he might have to contend with the Bentley Continental of Gomez as well in a very awkward spot. So hopefully Gomez is out of the way. Doesn't look like he's going to make it easy. Rayton just has to send it. He doesn't want to lose time. In fact, he's actually gained a little bit of time by the look of it, but I think he'll lose out just a little bit down into Hawthorn Bend. If he didn't have the run out of Surtees that he would have liked, having to make that dive up the inside of Gomez. But the gap is now under a second. Perhaps O'Hara, maybe he's under-fueled or something and is sort of trying to fuel save to get to the end. Well, Rayton doesn't have to contend with that, but Rayton, as the race has gone on, has picked up his pace. Well, O'Hara has gone the opposite way. Barracuda on the last lap, 24.2, so it's not like the track's terrible. Barracuda's still flying out there, as is Josh Lynn, 25.1 for him on that last lap, which is only a tenth off his personal best. But as you can see, half a second now between the two. Mid-25 for Rayton, mid-26 for O'Hara. I think all Rayton needs to do is just play it smart, pick the right corner and the right time, and P2 will be his. So battle rejoined from Monza. Once again, O'Hara versus Rayton. He's close. He's not going to be close enough. His best bet, though, is a slight mistake coming out of Sheen's, being very close through Sterling's and having a look at Clark Curve, the final corner, or setting it up for turn 1 or Druids. There is a slight mistake from O'Hara that has allowed Rayton to close right in. O'Hara hasn't made a mistake on the exit of Surtees, but Rayton will have a little bit of a slipstream to help him along. Looks like blue flags are out for somebody in front of him. Is Reese Holters, who's 3 seconds up the road, so it's a bit early for a yellow flag. And Rayton not going to be close enough into turn 1. If he's smart, he just stays in the wheel tracks. But no, he's going to have a look. He's going to try and send it. Has to back out of it, and almost lost the rear end. That will cost him a little bit. He is showing his nose into Druids. But O'Hara cuts the nose off and holds on to P2. I think Rayton I think it was a slight mistake there. He should have just been patient, stayed close through Paddock Hill, and then sent it at Druids, where he would have been much, much closer. I think that's his best bet, into Druids. Unless, of course, O'Hara makes a mistake somewhere and he gets alongside. If he doesn't get alongside, only real big braking zone is into Druids. And at the moment, Rayton certainly the faster of the two. Corti is actually edging a bit closer now that these two are battling, but with 3.5 minutes remaining, there's no chance, barring contact between these two, that he's going to get past either of them. Rayton closer than he was last lap. Has a look into Sterling's, and I think that's sort of mucked him up a little bit there, just trying to show his nose. Should have stayed in the wheel tracks, and he's dropped a number of car lengths now. He'll be hoping for a good exit out of the final corner. He is fairly close, a bit closer than what he was last lap, and again shows the nose, going to try and go for it. O'Hara gives him a little bit of room, but he can hold on around the outside. But Rayton gets the job done for now. They are coming up to traffic. O'Hara might try and get him on the switchback. No, not quite close enough. So Rayton now up into P2. He's been much quicker than O'Hara since the pit stops, and well, particularly the last 10 minutes. So O'Hara did manage to set his personal best just after his pit stop. But perhaps a bit of damage or fuel saving or something. We don't know why, but he was significantly ahead of Terry Rayton, who's just been balked a little bit from Shane Poole, but Poole gets out of the way and gives O'Hara a chance to get P2 back with 2.5 minutes, or just under 2.5 minutes remaining now. And yeah, we don't know why or how, but yeah, O'Hara was over 10 seconds ahead of Terry Rayton after the pit stops, but with about 10 minutes remaining, that gap come down significantly, and O'Hara's been in the 26s ever since, while Rayton has been setting 25s and 24s, except of course when he's been held up by traffic. So don't know why, but Rayton, as the race has gone on, has been pretty good, while O'Hara has fallen away, in particular the last 15 minutes. Reese Holters there. He's now up into P6 and Gomez into P7, so someone's dropped back somewhere. Someone's dropped down the field. I don't know who. So you look at Sebastian Murray Vesberg. Currently sitting in 7th place. He's 17.5 seconds behind Reese Halters, and he's always ran wide. He's on the marbles there, but he's able to hold onto the slide and make it around Druids. And that'll give Kasana a couple tenths extra as we have Barracuda begin the final lap of the race. We'll jump back over to the battle for 2nd place, which looks like Rayton is going to win. So he's chased down O'Hara, whose pace dropped off dramatically and will take P2 barring mistake. But this man, Captain Barracuda, has only been on camera probably about 3 times all race. That was at the start. We had a quick pan to him in the middle, and now we're going to have a quick pan to him right on the final lap because he has been utterly dominant once again. Although not quite as dominant as Monza in terms of pace-wise, he's been more consistent than O'Hara, who's fallen off a cliff, with O'Hara actually setting the fastest lap of the race currently with a 23.874 compared to Barracuda's 23.892. But Barracuda has remained faultless and has 2 corners to complete, a clean sweep and a hat-trick of wins at the AK Racing GT3 ACC Championship. So out of the final quad, out of the Clark curve for the final time, and Captain Barracuda wins 3 from 3 in the Black Falcon Mercedes AMG. 24.8 on the final lap of the race, just to put an exclamation point on his dominance. Cherry Rayton looks like he's stretched out a comfortable lead over O'Hara now. So Terry Rayton will finish in 2nd place, or should finish in 2nd place. There is still 1 corner for him to navigate, still in the mid-25s. So he's been nice and consistent since the pit stops. So out of the Clark curve, Terry Rayton gets the job done over Andy O'Hara this time. P2 for him. And O'Hara not happy with his race. Into both walls. And bang, into a 3rd. So not too happy with how his race has ended, but still 3rd place. Most people would be happy with that. Justin Courtier recovered to P4 after a little spin early on. So after that little error, that allowed him obviously to refocus, and those in front of him fell off the road a little bit, and he was nice and consistent to pick up a nice P4 in the end. Also finishing quite quickly and consistently, Josh Lynn finishing in 5th place. Reese Halters a lap down in 6th, followed by Sebastian Murray Vesberg in 7th. And we have Anthony Cesana in 8th place, followed by Simon Phillips, who made his way back into the top 10. He got turned around though by Justin Courtier when he was running in 6th place early on in the race, so he'll be a little annoyed with that one. But yeah, unfortunately it has ticked over, so I can't actually give you the full results after that though. But once again, Captain Barracuda takes the victory, takes 3 from 3, and it doesn't look like anybody can beat him at the moment because O'Hara's thrown his best at him, set a faster lap in the race, but just couldn't do it over the longevity of the 1 hour. And Barracuda 3 from 3. And then, as I've said many times in the last 5 minutes, Andy O'Hara's pace just fell off a cliff at the end of that one. And that allowed the Ferrari of Terry Rayton to get by for 2nd. Anyway, from myself, Lewis Wedding, I hope you've enjoyed this broadcast of the AK Racing Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 Championship from Brands Hatch. I do apologise for the scruffiness of the stream and the lack of graphics than what I do in some of my other broadcasts, but hopefully in the future, certainly in next season, there will be a little bit more polish to each broadcast once I figure out some graphic settings and the like to get it running a lot more smoother for you guys, as well as have some nice basic graphics as well. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this broadcast. Have a good one.